The Minnesota Twins have announced their September roster expansion. Remember, they can't go to 40 anymore. It's just 3 extra players, so it's not all that exciting or voluminous. We will look into who got the call, who got the shaft, and what to think of the Twins' plans for the season's final month, right after we get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Every day, every single day. How about that? Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team, you, every day. Don't forget, hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer who should be trying to reduce, not expand. I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warren, who's still trying to make it big as a Twins fan, a Twins writer, or both. You can find Brandon's written work at Access Twins, the newsletter, and you can find mine at Pitcher List. On this podcast, roster expansion time. It ain't like it used to be. So if you were hoping to see Andrew Morris or Aaron Sabato or Peyton Eels, Carton McCusker, again, you will have to wait. And if you were expecting to see Walker Jenkins, you got to think about different things because that would get
crazy.
Instead, the Twins have brought up Travis Adams, Noah Davis, and DaShawn Keirsey Jr. Haven't we seen those guys somewhere before? We have, apparently just not enough. Brandon and I will analyze who's back, who got left behind, and what else might happen this September as the Twins wind it down for 2025. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. It's moments away, maybe seconds. So visit the FanDuel app today, right now, and start planning your futures bets now. Get those in before the future arrives, because then you'll be too late. Brandon, a few years ago, September would come in Major League Baseball, and it often meant chaos. 10, 12, 15 extra players in the clubhouse and on active rosters. That's been scaled back, so no more like getting dressed in guys' laps anymore. That used to be like rookies would have to like share lockers, and it was quite a thing. Now it's still places like Wrigley Field is probably still tight with the extra 3 guys, but it's only 3 guys.
Technically, only 2.
Is it only 2? I thought
it was 26 to 28. The Twins had 3 because they sent out McAble.
Oh, see, that's why we have you here to clarify. Yes. I thought it was. I thought they added 3. Maybe they added 3 guys when the roster was still 25, and my brain is stuck.
It might be, and it feels like a pendulum swing to me. Overreact, underreact, settle in the middle. I still feel like maybe 5 guys would be the sweet spot, or 4. I mean, especially when they changed it so that you couldn't bring in a guy to face every single batter. You know, the lefty one guy style. Then that changed things a little bit, but I still feel like, another guy or 2, it's more big league service time. It's more guys getting opportunities. It's more guys getting longer looks. Well, if you're going to have September call-ups, I think you need more than just 2.
I think one of the reasons, and I'm only half kidding when I say this, is to give out less per diem.
It could be.
So, we make Greg jokes about per diem sometimes, Greg Masterson, but I think that has something to do with it.
He was on the show, by the way.
What's that?
He did an episode of the show. We did the irrelevant Twins. Like, are the Twins the most irrelevant franchise? We did a show on that last.
You did that without me?
Yeah, late last week.
Well, what happened?
They probably are. Yes.
That's not nice.
He got me though. We hashed it out, like Seattle, why they don't fit, Pirates, why they don't fit, Milwaukee, why they don't fit. It was a good time. We went a little over our usual time, but I think we pretty much came to the conclusion that the Twins are probably the least relevant MLB franchise right now.
Not to rehash the show, but the Brewers, like, other than they've won a few, they've had winning years in the last decade. What's the other reason they're
iconic logo. They've played in both leagues, so there's some intrigue there. Former first rounder, so maybe there's something there. No, that's an old Greg adage, but it was basically.
What am I doing here?
grasping at straws.
It's close. Stretch.
It's a stretch. It's a bit of a reach. He said too, he feels like they're like sister franchises or brother franchises, and there's not that appreciable difference between them. So the logo, the MB baseball glove logo, which ironically enough, the nearest high school to where I'm sitting right now, my daughter doesn't go to school in the district, but they had a cease and desist from the Brewers because they were making a logo that was an S, a T, an M, and an A in the exact same shape. And the Brewers are like, nope, can't do
Somebody
that.
Somebody snitched on them.
Yeah, it wasn't me. And I want to say it was about 2018 when they got in trouble, because that's when I went to Miller Park for the first time and had heard about, there was a cease and desist against, I think it was against some other teams too. Some other places were using the logo in a way that the Brewers didn't appreciate. So
there are a lot of high schools that, well, let's just say it, they rip off colleges or pro teams.
One of my favorite ones, by the way, there's a town called Minneota, and it's Minnesota without the S.
Uh-huh.
Guess what their football team is?
I don't know. Stop that.
The Minneota Vikings.
Is there going to be a cease and desist here?
I doubt it, but it is funny. Like, you see Minneota, and it's the Minneota Vikings.
Shouldn't they be the Vikings, but missing a letter from Vikings somewhere? Wouldn't that be funny too?
Yeah, maybe. The Minneota Vikings or something, or add a letter. Viskings. Add the S.
The Viskings. So, roster expansion used to be chaos, and teams used to be like, oh, let's just throw this against the wall and see if it sticks. Let's grab a bunch of guys from the minor leagues. Sometimes they would consider like who's in the playoff race down there.
Not always, though. Sometimes, but yes, not always.
No, I mean, that's always secondary. I know. I was thinking about some of the guys like that Double A has been promoting lately, and even Single A. I know Single A is in the playoffs. I'm not 100% sure how it all works in the minor league playoff system, but I know the Colonels have clinched a playoff spot, like a first half playoff. But I don't know who's still there from that team from the beginning of the year.
It seems like the Twins' lower level minor leagues are oftentimes better than their upper level, like historically. But they also used to have an Elizabethton team, which has since folded, a rookie level team that I think they won many, many, many years in a row under, I think it was Ray Smith was the manager, but that is no longer the case. But when they were Beloit, they'd have some good years, and it seems though the higher up they get, and I think it's maybe because they've been picked over, ransacked by the big league club the last few years, or even at times the last decade or so. But
did the Elizabethan teams like have big Shakespearean outfits?
No, they were the E-Town Twins, so they were not anything too fancy, but a lot of really great players went through those hallowed halls.
So it's not how it used to be. There are 2 extra spots. Maybe there used to be 3 when the rosters were 25. That's one of the minor things probably on the Players Association's mind as they go into negotiations. But I would say I agree with you that they overcorrected a little bit, and I think that the rosters could stand to be a little bit bigger. And it's a few, at least for a month, it's a few more major league jobs. So yay, Union.
30. I would say 30 is the sweet spot. I'd be fine with more, but 30 is the sweet spot. 2 pitchers, 2 hitters.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Before, and we, like you said, we don't have the relievers that can come in for one person anymore. There are lots of things that have reduced the times of games. That shouldn't be a consideration anymore. I think that's probably one of the things that they were thinking about. These September games, they last 3.5 hours because there's 15 players on the bench, and
Terrence Gore has a pinch run. Terrence Gore slowing the game down somehow.
How about just like a home run, people on the bases, they clog it up. So
wasn't that an old Dusty Bakerism?
Yeah, that's one of them. He's one of them. He's not the only one though. Barry Larkin. I've heard Reds fans complain about Barry Larkin complaining about too many home runs.
He said that recently, like he was on.
Yeah, this was this year. Yes,
in the last few weeks, I think, and everybody's like, "Come again? What?" Like it's funny that he is a franchise icon, and so is Joey Votto. who was on base via walks and stuff all the time, clogging up bases. It's just, to me, there's some funny contrast there too.
And Barry Larkin hit some home runs for a shortstop too. Not like a huge amount, but he had some power for that position. A little Joe Morgan thing going on there where they criticized the thing they were good at.
Yep.
It wasn't me when I played. Anyway, let's take our first break, and then we come back. When we come back, we'll talk about who's up and who's down and who's all around on the Twins.
Well, first we got to tell you about Upside. Hey, Locked On Twins fans, if you are still paying full price for gas, stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play Store right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON, like it's almost the end of baseball season, and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's completely and totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. So don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. There's a disclaimer. Offers vary by user and location, so go to upside.com for terms and conditions. And, of course, speaking of season, it is FanDuel season. The NFL season is almost here. You can almost taste it. And I don't know what NFL tastes like, but FanDuel is making sure that you are ready for kickoff with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I don't remember a better incentive to join than before. It makes every game exciting, too, whether you've got your season-long teams that you're keeping an eye on, you're watching Red Zone or anything like that. But you can watch your team. You can watch any team. You can be excited when the Browns are playing the Steelers or any teams that maybe you don't care about, like Dave here playing who do they play again in week 1? Who do your Bears play?
Somebody important.
Yeah, that's right. It's the Monday night matchup, J.J. McCarthy against Caleb Williams. You can watch that with plenty of enthusiasm, even if you are not a Vikings or Bears fan.
That ought to be fun on Twitter.
Well, what's that?
That ought to be fun on Twitter.
Yeah, right. I may just what was that Taylor Swift thing? I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative. I think that's probably my Twitter plan for Monday evening. But this is a quick, easy way to add a little more energy to your Sundays and your Mondays and your Thursdays and whatever else day they decide to put NFL on. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now and visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Chiefs on Friday in Brazil.
That's right. Yep. I'm trying to think. I am in charge of which broadcast do I have this week? I haven't even looked yet. Bengals Browns. So that should be a whole heap of fun.
I love some Joe Burrow. I enjoy him a lot. So.
And whoever's playing quarterback for the Browns, is it going to be Flacco?
Yeah.
I think so. But
who's the other guy?
Shedeur Sanders.
Not him.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Well, because they released Huntley and DaShawn Watson is gone and not forgotten. Gone and hopefully forever forgotten.
Kenny Pickett has been traded to the Raiders, I believe.
Penny Kickett, yep.
Well, this is not Locked On opening day NFL, so let's get back on task. Locked On Twins is back, and we're talking about Twins roster expansion for 2025. Who's up, who's down, who's all around. Travis Adams is coming back. Noah Davis is coming back, at least until presumably Pablo Lopez makes his start against the Royals next weekend. I believe that's
you'll
right.
Be there, won't you?
I will be there. I'll be there covering for the Pioneer Press. So subscribe. And DaShawn Keirsey Jr. is back. I saw him in the dugout today. So familiar names, not particularly sexy names. I've seen some complaints. I'm sure some people have a good point. I'm sure others don't. But Carson McCusker, not among. Andrew Morris, not among. Kyler Fedko, not among. Aaron Sabato, not among. I didn't see anybody complain about Peyton Neals, so I'll just do it. I wanted to see Peyton Neals. I still might, but so those are like the big 4 or 5 guys that people wanted to see.
Yeah, I think Peyton Eels possibly, like, I don't know if he's going to be a free agent this offseason because he hasn't spent that much time in the organization. So it's not like he has to be added to the 40 yet or anything. So maybe they don't necessarily need to get a look at him yet. Whereas if there was a little more runway and, say if it was May and they needed some help in the infield, they would give him a look. But I can understand gripes for a lot of individual players. At the end of the day, though, a guy like Marco Raya, a friend of ours pointed out, he's like 10 innings shy of his career high. They're not going to bring him up here just to run him through the meat grinder. Aaron Sabato has tailed off significantly. His OBP starts with a 2 last I checked, which is not great. So, yeah, was Eels the one you were most perhaps disappointed didn't come up?
I would say, what's a good way to put it? Because I am not surprised that they didn't bring up Peyton Neals. I hadn't heard that they were going to bring up Peyton Neals. I just saw how Peyton Neals was performing down there and thought it would be neat to have him up. Who doesn't play if Peyton Neals comes up? Do you just bring him to sit him on the bench? Does that really do anybody any good? At least not yet. So, September does have 30 days in it, and people get hurt and lots of stuff happens. So it's possible one of these guys might get a taste of the majors at the end as a reward, as a whatever, as a half a cup of coffee, as they say. But you were going over some guys with some numbers who didn't make it, like Aaron Sabato. He's had a great breakthrough season, but his slash coming into Monday, 255, 296, 457, 10 homers, 11 walks, 70 strikeouts, and 203 plate appearances at AAA. It's not quite, for the great stats that he put up at AAA, at AA, and the occasional big home run that we saw him hit so far for St. Paul. No, I mean, just looking at the numbers, no, he doesn't really deserve to be brought up. Carson McCusker, 243, 316, 485. That's better. It's not killer. He's got 22 homers. His strikeout to walk ratio is 141 to 36. And we've seen him in the majors a couple of times, 2 for 9, all singles, 5 strikeouts. I mean, that's not enough to dismiss him, but it's not enough to say I want to see more of it either.
Is he their Tim Elko? Like, if people are familiar with the White Sox, there's an older slugging, big fella that may or may not hit in the major leagues that everybody wants to see all season long, but we don't know if that player can actually hang.
I think Elko is a little younger, so maybe as analogies go, it's not perfect, but it's yes, for more or less, for more reasons or not, yeah. So there's that, and DKJ didn't hit great at AAA, but it's still 257, 336, 460. 14 extra base hits and 4-0 stolen bases is interesting. He's not running.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is weird. I don't know.
He also just didn't play that many games there. He sat with the Twins for quite a while.
Yeah. So now he's also I wrote down Keirsey's numbers in the majors, and they're horrendous. It's like 33 to 2. Strikeout to walk ratio, 11 for 95 or something.
I said 9 for 82, but yeah, that maybe is not updated. Brutal.
So he's 28 years old. Talk about the urgency more for him. And the same goes with Eels. The Twins have guys here in September who you kind of want to make sure you want to give a little more run to. You want to see if Edouard Julien can pull himself out of it, or I don't know if he's a non-tender candidate. I would say maybe.
Or at very least an outright.
Yeah, exactly. So Keyshaw, you want to play most of the games at second, Brooks Lee, you want to see most of the games at short. Royce Lewis, you want to see him play third base most days. That doesn't leave a whole lot of playing time for Peyton Eales. So, and he needs to keep playing too.
Or maybe they make another shift change when the Saints are done and DKJ season ends and Eales comes up. Like I think your point is well taken in the sense that, like, yeah, maybe they'll bring up some guys and do a line change, but they need whoever they call up now is not going to play much. I'm kind of misconstruing it. But they're not calling guys up to play. They're calling guys up to fill the gaps in the roster, like on the margins.
Ideally, I mean, I could see if there was, Kyler Fedko has done really, really well at AAA.
I'd like to see him.
It sort of come out of nowhere. If you look at his stats before this year, it's sort of like, I don't know, a mini Sabato kind of thing where I don't know where the breakthrough is coming from or why he's doing it.
Yep.
I mean, that's a maybe. I could see him before any of the other players to mention, just to get him in at first base, because that's an unsettled. You don't have a Keyshaw there, you don't have a Brooks Lee there, you don't have a Royce Lewis there. We've seen Cody Clemens.
You have an Edouard Julien there, which is to say,
no, I don't want to see. I want to give Edouard a chance to hit. Maybe I don't think it's going to happen, but I want to give him more of a chance. But that can also be done at DH. Yeah. We're going to give our sponsor a chance and do one more commercial, and then come back and finish this off.
Before we get to the sponsor, though, we do have an important request. Locked On would like to hear from you, the listener. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't like, and answer some questions about our advertising. Hey, just like we're doing right now. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. That's not 1,000. That's 10 gift cards worth $100 a piece. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for helping us out. You can always tell a dad of small children when you have to clarify that you're not saying 1,000 or 1,000. You're saying 10 of something that's 100, because that's how my kids count. But Prize Picks wants you to know that they are the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day. Dave Brown, you and me, what do we eat for lunch? What do we eat for dinner? Leftover Chinese today, hit the spot. But on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, as we've been saying ad nauseum today, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes, your hottest of takes, into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. In less time than this ad takes to read. I've been playing Prize Picks lately, and I'm bullish on anything Vikings related. I'm very excited to see Adam Thielen back in purple, obviously for those first 3 games where he is going to be most likely the number 2 wide receiver with Jordan Addison out. So I'm doing a lot of picks more than for the Vikings, but you also check your projections where it's more than or less than on something like 270 passing yards for Josh Allen or 1 rushing touchdown for Saquon Barkley. You think he's going to get 2, you hit more than, and then you hit big and cash in. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
It's good to be right. Locked On Twins is back for our final segment. For September 1st, 2025, the Twins have promoted a couple guys to the Major League roster for the September roster expansion, and we've been talking about it. Before we go back to this, we want to make sure that you all are locked on as far as subscriptions. You want to be subscribed to Locked On Twins, because that way you won't miss any of the great Twins content that we've got for you, and that includes the Twins postcast with Luke Inman. It'll be Luke today, right? Live, yes. Every final out of every game. That way you get 2 shows for the price of 1. And it's actually all free. So you get the price. That's the price right there, buddy. 0. So get subscribed to Locked On Twins and get your stuff that way, your audio stuff. So we've talked a little bit about some of the hitters who are not coming up and those who are joining the team again down the stretch for the Twins. We touched on the pitchers a little bit. You mentioned Marco Raya. We always hear the good stuff about Marco Raya from the Twins development and the prospect hounds, who I love following for the Twins. But he's got a 6.10 ERA, Marco Raya. 54 walks.
Last you checked.
87 innings. 54 walks in 87 innings. That's not going to do it. So he's still a work in progress. I believe in Marco Raya, but I don't think they should bring him up. I think it's fine that he's still in the minors. I remember, I've said this before, I remember when they tried to get him into some games in spring training and he hit the first 3 guys. It wasn't the first 3, but it might have been the first 2 in the game. And we didn't see him again down in Grapefruit League action. So, and that was enough. So Marco Raya, maybe some other time. And Andrew Morris, been very optimistic about his future since last season, but he's had at least 1 stint on the injured list this year. And he missed about 6 or 7 weeks until August, early August. Since then, he's allowed a 162 batting average, a 179 on base, and a 270 slugging. It's only in 11 innings with a 16-1 strikeout to walk ratio. That's since August 9th. So that's 3 or 4 appearances. So they're ramping him back up. Now, Morris, I could maybe see if they do some shuffling here between now and the end of September, maybe he'll come up and get an appearance or 2 in the majors. Is he 40? That doesn't matter. 40-man rosters don't matter with the roster expansion. So,
well, they do, but
they do.
Yeah, you have to be on the 40.
Is that true?
Yes, you have to be on the 40 still. But yeah, Morris is on the 40 anyway. So your point is
Peyton Eels is not.
Eels is not. But
Raya is. Morris is.
Well, with Morris too, if he hadn't been dealing with being nicked up a little bit, then I think you're talking about a better shot. But I would rather see what he has than Brooks Krisky. It's not as simple as that. It's are you doing a disservice to someone like Morris by bringing him up? And he's been knocking off rust after missing time, and there's a lot of layers to it. It's not MLB The Show where, I want to get a look at this guy, bring him up, insert him into the game. If he pitches poorly, he goes back down. There's layers to this.
Do you think Brooks is crispy at this point? He's crispy enough? Have we seen enough Brooks?
It's not great. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of seeing some of these guys.
Walker Jenkins, I'm not worried about this at all, by the way, but Walker Jenkins is 1 for 20 in AAA. So, as I recall, he might have got off. I don't know if it was 1 for 20, but he got off to kind of a slow start in this season too, after his ankle exploitations early in the season. So I'm not saying he has an injury, but maybe I think he's got 4 walks and 6 strikeouts. So he's not completely lost, but he certainly hasn't found it yet at AAA. So give him some time, and I don't think we need to worry about him not being up yet either.
No, I think he's got a good chance of being a factor early next year, but time is not of the essence at this moment.
All right. So what else can we expect later this month? Anything on your mind about the Twins possibly? We've already talked about some people who might be brought up, but it's, I think just making sure on Edouard Julien, I guess, that he's I'm not expecting a comeback. I don't know. Bailey Ober.
Don't call it a comeback.
A couple home runs.
Don't call it a comeback because it's not.
Bailey Ober's already looking kind of it's going to be kind of an interesting soul-searching, fact-finding offseason for Bailey Ober. I see Pete Mackey going to finding him in the woods somewhere and trying to figure out what's going on.
Messing with Sasquatch, like those old commercials. What is that? It's beef jerky, I think.
He doesn't look the same since he trimmed his beard and got a haircut. He's letting the hair grow a little bit, but Bailey Ober is not as hairy as he should be right now, I don't think.
No,
he doesn't have enough hair on the fastball either.
No, I think it could be. I wonder if there wouldn't be a challenge trade to be had. Someone else maybe on the offensive side of things who's tailed off. Like, this is a bad example, but like Ozzie Albies, someone who's fallen out of favor in their organization who would want to take a look at Ober. I don't know what that looks like, but if such a thing exists, I think the Twins would be wise to consider something like that.
Did you see the Braves picked up Ha-Seong Kim on waivers today?
Yeah, there was a Rays fan wondering what happened because it never was reported that he was on waivers. And these are the waivers where the team is basically like, hey, you like what you see? You want to pay the salary? All yours, baby. Because that happened with Alex Rios, wasn't it, like 2000-something?
Yeah.
The Blue Jays put him on waivers, and the White Sox claimed him, and they were like, cool, man, he's yours. I want to say that
kind of worked out for the White Sox. He was
pretty solid player, yeah.
He was. I
think that he didn't become Vernon Wells, and that was to the chagrin of the Blue Jays. He was a perfectly fine corner outfielder, nice player, but not what I think the Blue Jays had hoped when they signed him to a fairly long-term deal that had multiple years left on it when the White Sox got him. I feel like that was like 2007, maybe. Yeah, I wanted to say 7, and then I was like, oh, it feels later than that. But I saw him at spring training in 2015, and I think he was with the Royals at the time, like winding down his career.
Yeah,
I think that's the year that J.R. Murphy, right? J.R. Graham, not Murphy, the catcher. J.R. Graham hit him and broke his forearm, and the Royals were ticked off. They're like, what do you got a Rule 5 kid out there for if he can't pitch, can't not hit guys and end their season or whatever it was? They were ticked off.
Stuff happens sometimes.
Yeah, buddy. But I remember that. That was the same year.
Ha-Seong Kim, not a huge contract, but probably too much for the Twins to
sit. You can opt into $16 million next year, which the Rays would have no interest in paying. And he's obviously going to opt in after a lost year. So, I mean, if you're the Braves have nothing at shortstop. It's been Nick Allen, Orlando Arcia before they cut him. Since Dansby left 3 years ago, it's been a mess. So I understand them taking a swing at short, and Ha-Seong Kim is a year removed from a pretty dang good season with the Padres.
Shoulder injury, though, and sometimes those get tricky with batters. Ozzie Albies not what he once was either. I don't know if that's an injury that needs to heal or what, but he's had a down year too.
Really tough. Yeah, there's a lot of Braves fans down on Albies, which is why he immediately came to mind as a flip candidate. Now, the Twins don't need infielders, so I mean, whatever. But I think the Twins would do well to make a trade like that where, okay, we've got a guy we can't figure out. Do you have a guy you can't figure out? Let's make a swap.
Well, at least we have I don't know if they're going to shut down Ober or what, but we've got the offseason coming. He probably could use that for a mental reset too, but he also needs to find I don't know if this is all he needs to find, but he needs to find a couple miles an hour in his fastball. Otherwise, the other pitchers aren't going to play the same way.
He doesn't have enough separation. Glenn Perkins is constantly bringing that up. There's not enough separation on his fastball and his changeup. And his changeup is his strikeout pitch. He's got something like 40 strikeouts on it this year, but that ain't it if your fastball does nothing. So
separation of church and state and fastball and changeup. Those are the two axioms.
Exactly.
Well, it's another big moment for Locked On for college football fans because Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch the College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. And you can catch us some other time on Locked On Twins. But for my friend Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown wishing you all a very pleasant good evening, saying we will Alexei Casilla tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Irish, go down. Miami. Irish.